In the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about a couple different tools called StreamerBot and Atom. These are two different programs that you can use to automate OBS, create huge multi-action events kind of like a Stream Deck, and then have them triggered by channel points or hotkeys on your keyboard. But whatever happened to Lioranboard? Do you guys remember Lioranboard? That was the very first tool ever created that allowed you to use channel points to control OBS. I actually did the very first video of Lioranboard like ever. Was pretty proud of. But whatever happened to it? Why doesn't anyone talk about it anymore? I don't want to get into the drama, but the TLDR is the original developer no longer works in Lioranboard, and so now the community has created a fork that is called SAMMI. Stream Automation Management, Monitoring, and Innovation. No one's ever calling it that, ever. But SAMMI is pretty different to StreamerBot and Atom. All of your commands revolve around this Stream Deck-like interface, and there's even a Stream Deck plugin so you can run SAMMI commands from your Stream Deck if you have one. So let's check out SAMMI and see what it can do. This video is sponsored by Nerd. If you've been looking to upgrade your stream, get some new graphics, transitions, Nerd has you covered. You already knew all that, right? I talk about them all the time. Well, now they have something new, and it's called Maker. It's still in beta, but if you're the type of person that already has your stream set up the way that you like, and you just want to add little bits of pieces here and there, they now have a place where you can just pick and choose whatever you want and customize it right within the browser. For example, here's a simple free stinger transition that you can just add to your stream, and you can customize the colors within your browser, download it, and just add it to your stream. So try it out, the link is down below, and if you do decide to buy anything off Nerd, you can always use my code NUTTY to get 15% off. Alright, so let me show you how to download SAMMI. So you can get it off the website, it's just sammi.solutions, like that's the website, it's linked down below. Click on where it says download, and then click on download again, and then scroll down here where it says download, and then you thought we're done? Nope, because you gotta click this button here that says no, take me to the downloads. And then once you click on that, click on where it says download. And then after it does that, it should have downloaded. Did you get all that? Cool. You're gonna get a zip file, so just extract that wherever you want. Yes, extract. Go into the folder, x64, and launch SAMMI Core. It's gonna complain here, more info, run anyway. Yes, just click yes here. Before we do anything, the first thing that we want to do is get SAMMI connected to OBS because, well, you want to control OBS, right? So click on OBS connections, then go over to OBS, click on Tools and WebSocket Server Settings, and make sure the Enable WebSocket Server check is enabled because this is the way that SAMMI communicates with OBS, and then click on Show Connect Info and copy whatever your server password is. And just go into SAMMI and paste that into the password box. Click Auto Connect and then click the Connect button here. And if it turns green over here, that means SAMMI is successfully connected to OBS. Next, we're gonna connect SAMMI to our Twitch account so we can use channel points and chat commands and all that kind of stuff. So click on Twitch Connections and check this box that says Auto Connect so you don't have to do this every time. And click Link Streamer Account. And it's gonna open up Chrome or whatever. Just click authorize here, and then when that's done, you should see your account here. You can also link another account as your bot account. If you've ever used something like Nightbot, you can use SAMMI as a replacement for Nightbot, but then also use your own custom bot name so it looks customized and cool in your stream. So just click on bot account. It'll open up another window here. Make sure that you log in with whatever bot account you want to use and just click authorize, and it should pop up here. So mine is called Nutbody, so whenever I use a command in SAMMI, it's gonna pop up with my Nutbody account instead of something like Nightbot or whatever. Again, make sure you check the status icons here. If it says green next to Twitch, that means you have successfully connected to Twitch. SAMMI also supports YouTube, so if you're a YouTube streamer, you can set it up so that when people use super chats, you can control OBS and toggle filters and all that kind of stuff. So click on YouTube connection. I've literally never done this before, but I think you just click on obtain a token. Sign in with Google. Yep, allow. All right, so it has a refresh token. We're gonna copy this and just paste it into this box. Click on link. There we go. So I see my icon there, so that means I'm connected to YouTube, and click on done. The last red status icon that says bridge. So bridge is gonna be the way that you can test your follower alerts and your sub alerts and all your different cheering and bits and all that kind of stuff. So click on where it says bridge and open in browser. This page will make more sense later, but what I suggest you do is copy the path here and then go into OBS, click on docs, custom browser docs, and we're gonna add bridge and just paste the URL here. So this will ensure that the bridge is open all the time, so you don't have to remember to open this next time you run OBS. Again, you'll see what bridge does for you later, but for now, just trust me and make sure that you have it open all the time. All right, so all the boring stuff is out of the way. Now we can get to the interesting part, which is making SAMMI do stuff. So SAMMI has a very different interface. It all revolves around this Stream Deck-like interface. So just click at the plus and add a new deck, and then double click into the deck. And so you'll see a big grid here, and each of the squares in the grid represents a command, and the commands can do whatever you want. It could be something like changing a scene, could be toggling a filter, could be pressing a hotkey, or you can do stuff like running a Twitch poll or running a Twitch prediction. Basically, anything that you can do is represented by one of these squares in the grid. Let's do a few examples so you can see how this works. So we're gonna create a new button and double click into it. So this page here is kind of like a Stream Deck multi-action where you can just start layering as many different actions as you want, and we'll just trigger all of them. So we'll start really basic. We'll just add a sound effect. So play sound effect, and we're gonna search for just an audio file. Now, it only supports OGG audio files, so no MP3s, unfortunately, so you'll have to figure out a way to convert it. It's pretty easy, but we'll just like pick one, I don't know, this one, and we can just save it, or we can just run it to test it. You bloody legend. Go ahead and save that. And now we have our first command, so our first thing that we can do, but we still need a way to trigger this command. So this sound effect that we made, how do we want to trigger it? We can trigger it through channel points, through a hotkey on our keyboard, through chat commands, many different ways that we can trigger this command. So for this example, we can just right click in it and go edit triggers, and we can just add some triggers. So there's a lot of different triggers here. So we can trigger that sound effect on a new follow, or whenever someone subs, or on YouTube if you get a super chat. We're gonna do a hotkey, and we're just gonna press a key on our keyboard. Let's just say we press Control F or something, you know? We'll press F and then Control and then save. So if I save this now and press Control F, you bloody legend, it plays our sound effect. And we can keep spamming it too. So there's your first basic command. So we're just gonna right click this and go edit appearance, and we're gonna give it a label so that we know what the command does. So let's go legend and then save. Let's do another example. So we're gonna go and create another button, and this time let's make a button so that whenever somebody types in !Patreon, it links to my Patreon. So we're gonna go into the button, and what do we want to do? So click the plus. We want to send a chat message. So go send chat message here. And then what do we want that message to be? Hey you, I just bought a really expensive Game Boy and I want you to pay for it. So give me money on Patreon, and then I'll paste a link to my Patreon there. Click on save. What do we want to trigger this command? So right click, go to triggers. We're gonna add a new trigger. So every time someone in chat types in a message, we want to post that response back. So we're gonna click on the trigger, will be a Twitch chat. And what do we want to trigger our command? Let's just say !shill. Now these buttons here will allow you to make this command like mod only or sub only. We're not gonna check any of these boxes. We'll just click on save, edit the appearance, and we'll give this a name so that we know what it does later. Shill. Save it, save the deck. We're gonna go over to Twitch chat, type in our command !shill. And look at that. So SAMMI responded back to us. Now I noticed that SAMMI was responding back using my streaming account and not the bot account that we set up earlier. And the reason for that is if you go into Twitch connections, see where it says join chat under this name, you wanna have it set to your bot account and not your streaming account. So if I just put this here, press done, and then also go into my deck and go into that command that we created. And we also need to tell it to send the message to our streaming account. Press save, save it here. And then now if we go back and type in our shill command, Now it is using our bot account to respond back to us. All right, how about we do an example now of controlling OBS? So we're gonna go and make another action, and this time we're gonna do, let's just do a simple scene switch. So switch scene, and then what scene do we want to change to? Let's just change it to our webcam. Let's rename this webcam, and then we're gonna add another trigger here. So let's do a different type of trigger this time. Instead of using basic hotkeys to change scenes or chat commands in Twitch, why don't we set it up so that our viewers can change our scenes for us using channel points? So I'm actually gonna jump out of this window first and show you how channel points work in StreamerBot. So let's go over to Twitch connections. And in our streaming account, you see where it says edit rewards, click on that. And here you can see all of our rewards that we have connected to our Twitch account. Now you can see my current list of channel point rewards. I have nothing enabled at the moment. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just add a new channel point reward. Just click create, and we're gonna call this switch to webcam. And then you should see that the new channel point reward automatically appears in our Twitch account. So now what we wanna do is we wanna link this channel point reward to that scene switch that we created earlier. So come back here, we'll click done, and then we'll go back into our deck and click on that webcam command that we made. Go into triggers, and we're gonna add a channel point trigger. So just click add, and we're gonna search for channel points. Click on load from Twitch API to refresh our list of channel points, and then go to the drop down and search for that reward that we made. Switch to webcam, click on save, and then now when we trigger this channel point reward, it should automatically change to our webcam. Just like that. And so our viewers will be able to trigger that without us having to do anything. Now, while we're talking about channel points, inside of this window, you'll be able to edit your channel point rewards so you can make it more expensive if you want. You could also toggle your channel point rewards on and off, but you'll notice that all of the other rewards, except for the one we just created, are all grayed out, and we actually can't control any of these. So if you've ever used like StreamerBot or like Lioranboard or Atom before, you know how I always talk about how if the program that we're using didn't create that reward, then that program can't edit it. It's the same sort of situation here. So SAMMI can only edit the rewards that it created if the reward was created outside of SAMMI, so like it was created in StreamerBot, or if it was created inside of the Twitch dashboard, you won't be able to edit it. So just keep in mind that if you want to be able to turn on and off your channel point rewards inside of this menu, then you have to have created that reward inside of SAMMI itself. So if you have a reward that you've already created, what you can do is you can click on this dupe button, and it will create an exact copy, but that copy can be toggled on and off. So just keep that in mind. You may want to recreate all of your channel point rewards if you want to use all of them inside of SAMMI. Coming back into that command that we just created, we can do way more than just changing scenes. You can add as many different actions as you want. So if you want, we could do like, let's add a delay. So if we add a wait for timeout, it's gonna wait for how many milliseconds? Let's make this wait for like 3 seconds. And then we wanna do something else after. How about we just like turn our camera off? So we'll do like a source visibility. We're going to turn off our camera after 3 seconds. And then after, let's do another wait. After another 2 seconds, we will turn our camera back on. So we can just click on this copy button here and then click this paste button at the bottom. And this time we're gonna set this to visible. So if you look through our commands here, what's it gonna do? It's gonna switch to our webcam. 3 seconds later, it's gonna turn off my camera. And then 2 seconds after that, it's gonna turn back on my camera. And we can just like save this and click the run button to test it out. So it switches to this scene here. The camera's gonna turn off. And then 2 seconds later, camera comes back on. And guys, I've just been showing you the really basic things that SAMMI can do. You can do so much with it. So if you just look at the list of actions here, go to Twitch, look at all the different things you can do with Twitch. Like you can turn on emote only mode, you can run an ad, you can even create a brand new channel point reward. You can add polls, you can create stream markers, you can add people as moderator. Like there's a huge amount of things that you can do just within this menu. And then if you look even more, like look over here in OBS, like you can create new scenes. You can turn a media source on and off, or play, like there's so much you can do here. And the same thing is true for triggers as well. Like I showed you the really basic ones like hotkeys, chat commands, and channel points, but there's way more triggers. Like you can set up a trigger so that whenever a new Twitch poll is created, it activates a command that posts the actual question inside of Twitch chat so that your viewers can see the question. Or you can set up a command that is triggered every time you ban a user. There's so many different things you can do, but we're only touching on the basic things in this video. So at this point, you've probably added a whole bunch of different commands, and let's just say you've added a bunch of different sound effects and you don't want those effects to be overlapping each other. SAMMI has a queuing system to prevent that from happening. So if you just look at my deck right now, I've added 3 sound effects on the left here. And so if I just press them all, you see how they're just all overlapping each other? So what you can do is go into each of your different actions, and for sound effects, you're gonna have to put a delay at the end. So we'll add a wait, and let's just say we'll add a wait of like 2 seconds for this one. And we'll do the same thing for all of these. So we'll just add a wait for all of them. If you right click each of the sound effects, you can go into the settings and you see where it says allow queue. Enable the allow queue for all of them. So I'm just gonna go to each of these different sound effects and allow the queue. And then we're gonna save it. And now if I spam the first sound effect, you bloody legend. You see how it doesn't overlap anymore? You bloody legend. And you can actually see this if you click on active buttons, and you can see every time I add and spam our sound effect, it's always waiting until the sound effect finishes before it plays the next one. However, each of those different sound effects are on their own queue. So if we spammed 2 different sound effects, it's still overlapping the 2 separate sound effects. But what if we wanted to put all of them onto a single queue together, so we don't want any sound effects overlapping each other? Well, if you go into the deck and right click on each of the sound effects again, go into settings, you see the group ID. Just assign all the different sound effects that you want to be on the same queue to the same group ID. So for example, I want all my sound effects to be on a queue that I'm going to call sound effects. Just go SFX. And go into each of the different sound effects into the settings and add an SFX to the group ID. And so now if we click save and click on active buttons, if I just spam each of the different sound effects, none of the sound effects are going to overlap each other now because they're all on top of the same queue. You bloody legend. Thanks for the raid, mate. Oh, thanks for the sub, champ. This is gonna go on for a while. I'm just gonna keep this going. So to recap, we have a deck, and the deck has a bunch of different commands, and each command can have triggers associated with them. So they can be hotkeys, chat commands, whatever. But let's just say we wanted to have some kind of physical deck in front of us so that rather than using hotkeys, we can just press buttons kind of like you would on a stream deck. This is where SAMMI Deck comes in. So if you click on SAMMI Deck in the home screen and click Open SAMMI Deck, we can select a deck that we want to open. So we only have one deck, so just select that one and click Load Deck. And you can see now we have an interface that looks sort of like a stream deck that we can just click. You bloody legend. But you probably don't want to be clicking buttons with your mouse because that's kind of weird. So that is where the Android app comes in. Now, I'm gonna be straight up with you. The Android app is super jank, but it works pretty much the same as the desktop version of SAMMI Deck. Now, you can get the app from the Google Play Store. It is still called Lioranboard 2 Stream Deck, but it does work with SAMMI. But essentially, the way it works is you have to put your local IP address into this URL bar, and you can get that by clicking on SAMMI Deck and clicking on Get LAN IP, and then pasting that into Notepad. And whatever number you see there, you just type that into the Android app. Click connect, deck 1, load deck, and then here, it's gonna run an ad, and then yeah, Yeah, I told you this was super jank, but it's here, and now we can just play our sound effects.
You bloody legend.
By pressing on the buttons.
Thanks for the raid, mate.
Yeah, it's not a great experience, but for the people that want that, you have that option. But for the people that have an actual Stream Deck, you can also run any of your SAMMI commands straight from that too. The guys over at StreamUp have created a SAMMI plugin for the Stream Deck. I'm not gonna go through the instructions because it's all written out here, plus this video is already kind of long. But I'm assuming that most of you guys probably don't even have a Stream Deck. That's why you're resorting to a program like SAMMI. But for those of you that have a Stream Deck, this is also an option for you. But yeah, guys, that's a pretty basic rundown of how SAMMI works. Now, next week, I'll be doing a video comparing StreamerBot, SAMMI, and ATEM so that you guys can decide which of those 3 stream automation tools is right for you, because there are so many of those tools nowadays, it's kind of getting confusing as to which one I personally recommend. So we'll save that topic for next week's video. But guys, let me know what you think of SAMMI, and also I have Patreon now, so if you guys want to support me, you can support me on Patreon. Everyone that subs at the $10 tier and up will get access to my custom-made widgets made personally by me. So if you ever wanted some of the stuff that I made, then you can get that over there. Thanks for watching. I'm really tired now. I'm gonna have to go edit for like hours. Thank you. Goodbye.